Hello, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in the last class we discussed steady flow energy equation, and this is a very simple equation which can be applied on many steady flow devices. See what you are looking at, what you are looking on the screen. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Nozzle as an
Right,
enthalpy.
nozzle. See here, a steam nozzle is shown. It is having, say, three sections: a convergent portion, a smallest cross-section area, and a divergent portion. And this is applicable to, this is a steam nozzle. A steam nozzle may be convergent, divergent. A convergent is the one where the diameter of the nozzle at the inlet and it converges. So this portion where the diameter converges, that means the diameter shortens. That means the diameter decreases from larger to smaller. That is convergent portion. And the portion which increases in area, that is from smallest area to the largest area, that portion is called divergent portion. So this nozzle is called convergent divergent nozzle, and this is applicable to only either steam or gas, not for liquids. All liquid nozzles, remember, are convergent nozzles only. That means for liquids, only this part is used. Only this part is used. The very purpose of a nozzle is, I said, what is the purpose of nozzle? I told you in the last class. We briefed it. The very purpose of nozzle is recollect, recollect the purpose of nozzle. These are all basic intuitions, and it does not require any study, I think. It's all a basic intuition. A nozzle purpose is the purpose of an, for example, a sprinkler, from sprinkler, how does water come out with low velocity or high velocity?
High velocity, sir.
High velocity. So, in that way, the nozzle is also meant for increasing the velocity of fluid, increasing the velocity of fluid. See, for example, to blow a horn, for example, while when you were children, there you have to blow air through the through that with high pressure, and there will be an audible noise. So here, here also, the pressure energy in the steam uh, is converted into kinetic energy. That means that the energy, kinetic energy of the fluid is increased. That means the velocity is increased. In classical terms, we say that the kinetic energy, that is the K of inlet fluid is smaller and K of outlet fluid is higher. So that is the purpose of the nozzle. The nozzle purpose is to increase the velocity of fluid. So here, only steam nozzles uses uh, convergent divergent nozzles. Why those aspects you will study in the next, I think, semester in a very deep manner. However, we constrain our study just to study the basics of nozzle, the simple problems of nozzles, and only fundamental thermodynamical aspects of nozzles. And I said a steam nozzle is may use a convergent divergent type, and a liquid nozzle, say a sprinkler, for example, it will be convergent. That there the nozzles used at the end of the pipe there are convergent because they are liquid nozzles. They increase velocity of the liquid there. They are convergent only. So we don't deviate just to we don't deviate from steam to liquid. However, just to know that nozzles are of three types: convergent, divergent, convergent divergent, like that. A convergent portion means a convergent nozzle means a nozzle which shortens its diameter from larger to smaller, and this portion is convergent. And a nozzle, a part of the nozzle or a nozzle where for which the area increases from smaller to higher. So that is a divergent part. And steam nozzles, they are convergent divergent nozzles, or any type, but depending on the velocity required, depending on the pressure energy, higher is the pressure energy, this type of nozzle is used, and lower is the pressure energy, convergent portion only is sufficient. Okay, that is other matter. We don't attempt that matter. So here, this is the purpose of nozzle, and we apply steady flow energy equation. Delta P 0, potential energy 0. Why? Because here, whatever steam is entering here at inlet and here at outlet on the same line, on the same horizontal line, it is leaving out. So there is, if any datum is taken, Z1 equal to Z2. So potential energy 0. And there is no work required, there is no heat interaction through the nozzle. See here, these aspects are zeros, and remaining terms in steady flow energy equation are H1 plus C1 square by 2 equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2. You recall the steady flow equation. See the steady flow equation. Recollect. For example, this one. You can take any of see the fundamental steady flow energy equation. This one. See in this, mgz terms are 0 and q term is 0, w term is 0, and the remaining terms are q plus pv is enthalpy and C1 square by 2, it remains. And here U plus PV is enthalpy H2 and C2 square by 2. So only H1 plus H2. And whereas this is enthalpy, we write it completely for steam case. Steam case, we write it completely as H1, which is U1 plus P1 V1. And these values, depending on the condition of steam at inlet, we can read these values from steam tables directly. The condition of steam at entry will be given. For example, steam enters a nozzle at so and so pressure and at so and so velocity. It may be given. And some other aspects, some other properties may be given. And of course, we will see the problem in the next, in the very next topic. So here we rearrange the terms C2 square by 2 minus C1 square by 2 equal to H2 minus H1 minus H2. And the purpose is to find out the velocity at outlet C2 is to be found. So mathematical equation C2 square minus C1 square is equal to 2 into H1 minus H2. So we write C2 square equal to C1 square plus 2 into H1 minus H2 under root. So this is C2 value. And C1 is of course by far less than C2. We can realize this aspect whenever a problem comes and C2 equal to, therefore C2 equal to 2 into H2 minus H1, H1 minus H2 under root, and or square root 2 into change in enthalpy of steam. Usually what happens here, see, the higher velocity at outlet is the result of decrease in enthalpy or decrease in the pressure of the steam. So that's why I asked you, I told you an example, a whistle, we blow whistles, you blow whistles when you were children by blowing air with high pressure from mouth, like a balloon, like blowing a balloon, and there will be an audible noise then. Why? Because high pressure air then goes into a small hole in the visual. There the velocity will be increased and the pressure of air from the mouth will decrease. With high pressure, we will blow, and gradually pressure decreases and velocity increases. In that way, in the same way, we can understand the nozzle here. So the velocity, the ultimate purpose of a nozzle is the velocity of fluid increases. And these aspects, the velocity at inlet, enthalpy, all these aspects you will understand when you take a problem. For example, you take this problem. This is a problem. Normally in the examinations, we come across with problems. We will be given problems. And they are easy to handle because everything will be there in the problem. Only thing is just to substitute in the equation. Here, steam at a pressure of 6.87 bar and 205 degrees centigrade enters in an insulated nozzle. See here, the aspect has to be underlined. This sentence has to be underlined. Insulated nozzle means there is no heat interaction. Q equal to 0, and it enters with a velocity of 50 meters per second. So C1 is 50 meters per second. It leaves at a pressure of 1.37 bar. See here, you observe that steam is entering at 6.87 bar leaving at 1.37 bar. The pressure is decreased. So at the expense of this drop in pressure, there will be increase in velocity of steam. So there is an increase in the velocity from 50 to 500 meters. The velocity at exit is also given. Then what is to be determined? Determine the final enthalpy of steam. H2 has to be found out. So here, whatever information is given in the problem, it is noted down. That is pressure at the entrance 6.87, velocity entering 50 meter per second, pressure at the exit 1.37, velocity at exit 500 meter per second, and therefore a steady flow energy equation has to be applied. So there is no work interaction, there is no work interaction, and there is no heat interaction, and this is an open system. Again, I am coming back to the concept open system. Why? Because we are to familiarize ourselves with these concepts. What do you mean by open system? This nozzle comes under open system. Okay, what do we mean by open system? I put a question here. You answer this. In no time, you have to answer.
No heat transfer, sir, from nozzle.
Okay, just listen. I am asking you, what is an open system? Open system. No heat transfer means adiabatic system or insulated system. What you said is the answer for adiabatic system or insulated body. I am asking you the question.
Sir, for open system, both energy and mass changes.
Right. There, when there is both mass and energy cross the system, that is open system. So here, the mass crossing the system is steam, and energy crossing the system is, of course, kinetic energy, only kinetic energy, and of course, pressure enthalpy. The pressure as well as flow energy is considered as enthalpy here. See, potential energy 0, of course, there is no work interaction. As now somebody said Q0, that is adiabatic system. This is adiabatic system. No work interaction because a steam nozzle does not give any work, nor it does not require any work. So that is how a steam nozzle will have no interaction with work. And of course, there is no way the steam nozzle will deal with the heat. So Q equals 0. And treating all these three terms, keeping all these three terms in the steady flow energy equation as zeros, we write U1 plus P1 V1, which is combinedly called as enthalpy H1 plus C1 square by 2 equal to U2 plus P2 V2, which is combinedly we call it as H2 plus C2 square by 2. And in the right hand side, what terms are made 0? GZ1 it is made 0, Q is made 0, like that. And here in the right hand side, the terms which are put as zeros are GZ2, it is made 0 because potential energy 0, and W is made 0, and that's all. So keeping those terms zeros, we apply this equation. We apply this equation on this problem, and now we write here the same terms we wrote here. W0, no work crosses the system. Q0, and see whatever extra terms are there. I told you to ignore those terms. Again, this is shown here for this problem. Delta P is 0 because the nozzle is considered or compared to enthalpy terms, this potential energy term is zero, even though there is a little difference of datum at inlet and outlet. How it is zero, we will look in the problem. In the problem itself, we will realize. Now, however, this is a horizontal, see the axis of the nozzle is horizontal. That means the inlet and outlet, the center point of inlet and center point of outlet are at same level with reference to any ground level. So therefore, potential energy, difference in potential energy is zero, and H1 plus C1 square by 2 equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2. So these terms are given. C2 that is 500, C1 50 given, and enthalpy at inlet you are required to find because pressure and temperature at inlet given. How it can be found, we will see from stream tables which will be supplied to you in the examinations also, both in the internal as well as university examinations. You will be supplied steam tables to look into these properties of steam from steam tables, and you need not bring any steam tables to the examination halls, the college, and it is compulsory in examinations. So examination examination cell or the college will supply you the steam tables, and here what is asked here is H2. By substituting here, that is C2 square minus C1 square by 2, so C1 square equal to 2 into H1 minus H2. By looking at this formula, see, I told you every time that you need not remember all these things in the equations. I ask you every time to remember the fundamental equation, right? Fundamental equation whenever a problem is given. And if you write this fundamental equation, how H1 is found, we will see in the steam tables. H2 minus H1, rearranging the terms, we write from steam tables corresponding to given pressure 6.87 bar, and of course some temperature given there 205 degree centigrade temperature. So this is a superheated steam. The properties of superheated steam you will look in the steam table. How, I will show you. See, this is steam table. See, superheated water. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir, visible, sir.
Now see here. See temperature, absolute pressure, and in this way, see the pressure is increased at the given pressure, and given temperature, the, see here, specific volume, specific enthalpy given, and this is of course for saturated water. For superheated water, superheated steam, only for superheated steam, the, see for example, let us see 10th page. This is of course given. Now this is superheated steam. You see superheated steam. See, this is the pressure, absolute pressure order. Your 6.7 will be somewhere in other page. For example, see page number 20. Now, what is your pressure? 6 point. So see at the given pressure. Now you see in the next page itself it will be there. Now here it is there. See, there is a pressure of 5, 6, 7. What is your pressure? 6.8 something. And what is the temperature? What is the temperature? See here 4.5 bar, 5 bar, 6 bar, 7 bar. So at 7 bar, for example, approximately, you can read enthalpy value. Enthalpy value. The second column, I think. See on this site, the values, specific volume, enthalpy. These are the enthalpy values. So enthalpy values you can read. So in that way, you can read enthalpy value, H value. H value you can read. It is 2850 kilojoule per kg. Kilojoule per kg. And here the units of H1 and H2 should be substituted in joule per kg, or C2 square by 2 minus C1 square by 2 is to be divided by 1000. In whatever way you adopt, you have to adopt. Either H1 and H2 should be substituted in joule per kg, or that for example here 2850 is substituted as it is here. Then C2 square minus C1 square is to be converted into kilojoule by dividing by 1000. So in that way, the substitution is made here. C1, C2 are given, and only H2 is to be found out. So final enthalpy of steam is worked out to be 2726 kilojoules. So here, in this way, you now look at the velocities here. C1 square by 2000 and 50 square by 2000. It is very small compared to enthalpies. That's what I told you in the steady flow devices. Of course, here in the nozzle, even though that little term are considered, in many steady flow devices, these enthalpies are very high compared to these velocities, and therefore the velocities are neglected in other steady flow devices. Kinetic energy is negligibly small. It does not mean that there is no kinetic energy. There will be kinetic energy, but it is negligibly small. However, here the very purpose of nozzle is to increase the kinetic energy, and therefore we are required to find out incorporating the velocity terms in the steady flow energy equation. Now the final enthalpy is worked out like this, and this is asked. In this way, you will be given problems in steady flow on steady flow energy equation on steam nozzle, for example. Now, have you understood how these terms are substituted? Here, I doubt why 1000 is substituted here. One of you tell me. Because see, what is the unit of C1 square by 2 or C2 square by 2? What is the unit of what are C1 and C2? C1 and C2 are respond quickly. See, usually you will be given problems in nodules only. That's why I considered anyhow a simple problem to begin with. Therefore, you must understand this. A very simple problem. What are C1, C2? Here in this problem, what do we mean by C1 and C2?
Sir, table is steam table is seen, sir.
Steam table is?
Visible, sir. Not problem, sir.
Okay, okay, then okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
No. Here in this problem, what do we mean by C1, C2? See, now you must have seen steam tables. So, what is saturated steam? What is superheated steam? We will again go through. We will again attempt it in other case, in a separate case, while discussing properties of fluid substance. And it's not a problem. But there are two cases in steam tables. One is saturated steam, one is superheated steam. For saturated steam, only pressure is required, either pressure or temperature is required, and quality of steam is required to read the properties. And for superheated steam, both pressure and temperature are needed to read the properties. And we have seen two pages for saturated steam, first a few pages, and the remaining pages superheated steam. And corresponding to the required values, we will go through, we will check the enthalpy values, and sometimes the remaining property values whenever required. Okay, here in this equation, H2 minus H1 plus C1 C2 square by 2 minus C1 square by 2 equal to 0. What do we mean by C1 and C2? What are C1, C2? C1, C2 are. Okay, see, these are not unique notations. That's why I am cross-checking. These are the notations here followed. Here, the notations followed are C1 is the inlet velocity of steam at entry, and C2 is the outlet velocity of steam. Will be more. What is C2 value here? The C2 value here is, see here, the velocity of it exists, it lives at a velocity of 500 meter per second, and enters with a velocity of 50 meter per second. So 50 meter per second, the entry velocity is there, and the exit velocity is 500 meter per second. So the exit velocity is tenfold, 10 times more than inlet velocity. So in that way, the very purpose of a nozzle you understand. But while after reading the problem, you understand the purpose of a nozzle is to increase the velocity. So energy is conserved as per law of conservation of energy. How is this increase in velocity has occurred? This increase in velocity has occurred at the expense of decrease in pressure from 6.87 bar to 1.37 bar. In that way, the pressure has decreased, and correspondingly, the enthalpy may decrease, and like that, like that. If one property increases, other property decreases. In that way, one energy, one type of energy is converted into other type of energy. So there is a transformation of energy from see here in this nozzle case, a drop in enthalpy resulted into increase in kinetic energy, or a drop in pressure energy resulted into an increase in kinetic energy. In that way, at the expense of loss of some sort of energy, some other sort of energy will increase, will develop. In that way, energy is conserved. So here, the purpose of a nozzle is to increase the kinetic energy or to increase the velocity of the flowing fluid. Here is steam. Steam is the flowing fluid. So here C1, C2 are assumed to be velocities. At entry of nozzle, C1. At exit of nozzle, C2. So C2 is 500. So 500 square. C1 is 50. 50 square by 2. So in the equation, there is only by 2 is there. But why we divided by 1000? Why this C2 square minus C1 square by 2 is entirely divided by 1000. And here, instead of H1, we substituted 2850, which is a value noted down from steam tables only for H1, because at H1 is enthalpy at entry of nozzle, where pressure and temperature both are given. When pressure and temperature are both given, we have to realize that the steam is in superheat conditions. Only for superheat steam, both pressure and temperature will be given. If it is saturated steam, only pressure or temperature will be given. And of course, some other parameter will be given, but not both temperature and pressure for saturated steam case. In the steam tables, we have seen just now some pages related to saturated steam in the beginning, and some pages, say from 15 pages onwards, there are properties related to superheat steam. And the headings, that is what property is given under, that is specific volume, enthalpy, entropy, like that, they are given at the very beginning. That's why, see here, I will again show you. Steam tables, very first page I am showing. See here, in the beginning page only, the properties will be given. The first one is temperature. For example, this is saturated steam, saturated water steam. In the first page, the heading is given. And the first column is temperature. The second column is absolute pressure. The third column, which is specific volume. The fourth column, specific enthalpy. That is needed for our case, H. Of course, here for saturated steam, here first column temperature, and also for superheat steam also there may be see there are see here specific volume values given. So specific volume of superheated steam values for corresponding to certain temperature. So here specific volume values given, and we require say enthalpy. This is saturated vapor, so there is no this is specific volume only. We require enthalpy values, specific volume, because I am showing just for Now this is specific enthalpy. In 18th page, our required property is there, specific enthalpy. So here, corresponding to our pressure, say it may be in 19th page. In this page, corresponding to some 6 point something, that is here, corresponding to this value, corresponding to the temperature. We will read the enthalpy value directly here. For example, what is the pressure given at inlet? What is the pressure at the inlet given? And what is the temperature at inlet given? That's why whenever a problem is given, see here, just to show you that these are in the order of 2900, for example, 2916, 3054, in this order. So all these are enthalpies. We are required to read these at corresponding temperature. So at corresponding temperature, say in the problem, the temperature is 205. So now the temperature is 205 and the pressure is like this. Now correspond to 6.87 bar and 208 degrees centigrade, 205 degrees centigrade. The value is 2850. Now you must have realized how to see, how to look into a steam table whenever given. Of course, there is 200, 250 and so on. So at 200 you can read, not exactly at 205. In that way, you have to justify, you need not waste your time while looking into steam tables. There is a procedure to interpolate at the required value, but not required at smaller values. If 205 is given and the value given in the steam table is 200, then you can write straight away, read under 200 and justify by looking at 200. So the value H1 is 2850 and this is substituted here. And this is in kilojoule per kg from steam table. Whereas the equation, the value H1 and H2 is in joule per kg, where I asked you the unit of C1 square by 2 or C2 square by 2 or velocity squared. What is the unit of velocity square? The unit of velocity square is the unit of meter per second when squared. What is its resultant? Okay, very simple things we are dealing with. There will be no confusion if you concentrate. What is the resultant of meter per second squared? When meter per second is squared, what is the resultant unit?
Square by second square.
Meter square by second square. Now you add kg by kg. So you add kg by kg, and we know what is kg meter per second square called? Kg meter per second square. Kg is the unit of mass m. Meter per second square is the unit of acceleration or acceleration, g or e. So mg. So now kg meter per second square is the unit of weight or force, Newton. So when kg by kg is added, then it will be kg by kg into meter square per second square. and we can write this as kg, kg by kg, meter by second square into meter. And incorporating kg meter per second square as Newton, we write that as Newton meter per kg. And Newton meter means joules by kg, joule by kg. So in that way, the meter square per second square is joule by kg, whereas the unit here in the steam table given is kilojoule per kg. That is why these H1 and H2 are to be substituted in joule per kg. That means, for example, this 2850 is substituted as 2850 into 10 cube. There is no need to incorporate this 1000 here. Understood? See, either this equation is substituted as it is only when H1 and H2 are substituted in joule per kg, or if H1 is substituted in kilojoule per kg, the C2 square minus C1 square by 2 is to be divided by 1000 to make this into kilojoule per kg. See, I am explaining here the unit conversion made here. And this is a very important conversion, a very important substitution you have to understand. See, though the equation is C2 square minus C1 square, C2 square by 2 minus C1 square by 2, or C2 square minus C1 square whole by 2. Here I wrote C2 square minus C1 square by 2 and by 1000 also. It is because H1 is substituted 2850 as it is, as it is read from the steam tables, 2850 kilojoule per kg. Because this is substituted in kilojoule per kg, and these terms are also to be converted into kilojoule per kg. And if you keep this as it is, then this will be in kilojoule per kg and this will be in joule per kg, and therefore the equation will not be a dimensionally homogeneous equation. That means you have to add joule per kg plus joule per kg plus joule per kg like that, but you cannot add joule per kg plus kilojoule per kg like that. That means, for example, if 100 grams is there and 100 kg is there, you cannot say the total as 100 plus 100, and you cannot say it as 200, but you can say like this: 100 kg plus 100 gram means 100 by 1000 kg, so it is 100.1 kg. That's all, 100.1 kg, like that. Like that, the substitution is made. The substitution is made like that. Understood this? You respond, otherwise I may have doubt, and I have to attempt and I have to explain one more problem of this type. Okay, we will deal with this type of problems again for your convenience. And here now H2, finally we calculate the enthalpy like this, which is required for this problem. So in this way, steady flow device can be dealt with using steady flow energy equation. Steady flow energy equation. Now I put a question after completion of this problem. What do you mean by a steady flow? I put the same question in the earlier class also.
Constant flow, sir.
Constant flow. Again, add some more with some equation form. Okay, what you said is correct. In the equation form, you tell me, just simple equation.
The flow in a certain speed, sir.
The flow?
The flow flows at a constant speed or
No, not constant speed. M dot in equal to M dot out. That means mass flow rate at entry. If 50 kg per second is entering, that much mass flow will leave. That's all. Steady flow, okay. Constant flow. What you said is correct, but you could not complete your sentence in the equation form. In the equation form, it has to be dealt like this. M dot in or mass flow rate that is entering is equal to mass flow rate that is leaving out. Okay, you can of course understand this steady flow by dealing with some problems in the coming classes. No problem. You can understand. That is what steady flow. What do you mean by steady? What do you mean by steady energy? Steady flow, energy equation we told, and steady energy. See here, while deriving the equation, steady flow energy equation, two concepts are used. Continuity equation we discussed, which is mass flow rate. As you said, constant flow, m dot in equal to m dot out. In the equation form, you should say like that. Or rho A C, rho A C equal to constant, where rho is density, A is area, C is velocity, or area into velocity by specific volume is constant. And that much lengthy sentence not required. In the very simple terms, you can explain it. You can explain it as constant flow or m dot in equal to m dot out, where mass flow rate m equal to m dot equal to rho a into c, or sometimes you may call rho a into v, velocity. The convention followed is not unique. It is dependent on you. You can call capital V as velocity and small v as specific volume. And in that way, it all depends on the convention followed by you. Okay, we will deal with some other problems or some other steady flow devices in the next class. Okay, thank you.